This video is brought to you by the good people over at patriotpost.us. They are a fantastic source of news and information, and a link for them will be in the description box. So when you go over there and subscribe, tell them that ABL sent you. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about a Washington Post columnist by the name of Jennifer Rubin, who says we need to burn down the Republican Party if we want to, quote unquote, fight Trump. Now, when I say we, I don't mean me, obviously. I mean them, the crazy left, which is pretty much become the face of the general left, unfortunately. I know some people that are on the left, they're just regular, everyday people. They don't get involved with the extremism. But when people like this are allowed to just say whatever they want to say on television and in their columns unchecked, they become the default position of the left. But before I go any further, let's go ahead and get into the clip. In this clip, you'll see what she said on an MS-13 NBC panel with other individuals right there being her cheerleader, which goes back to what I said before about not checking her, egging her on. But for now, I digress. In this clip, you'll see what she said. After we get done with that, I'll give you my 2 cents, my analysis, then I wrap it on up with a nice bow on top. So without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
An extreme administration that is dangerous. If you are a Latino right now, you probably need to carry your birth certificate around. I've known people that are carrying them because they're so scared that they're going to be scooped up and stolen.
What we should be doing is shunning these people. Shunning, shaming these people is a statement of moral indignation that these people are not fit for polite society. I think any institution, and University of Virginia, for example, for a bit had a relationship with Mark Short, who is now back with the administration. I think it's absolutely abhorrent that any institution of higher learning, any news organization or any entertainment organization that has a news outlet would hire these people. I also want to echo something that my friend EJ said. It's not only that Trump has to lose, but that all his enablers have to lose. We have to collectively, in essence, burn down the Republican Party. We have to level them, because if there are survivors, if there are people who weathered this storm, they will do it again. They will take this as confirmation that, hey, it just pays to ride the waves. Look at me, I've made it through. And so up and down the ticket, federal, state, local offices, the country has to repudiate this. This has become a dysfunctional anti-government party. That is not what the country wants and what it needs. And the proof is in the pudding. The reason they engage in voter suppression is because their underlying agenda is very unpopular. Right. No one's in favor, it turns out, of taking away people's health care. People don't like it when you come after Medicaid and Medicare. So my hope, at least, is that after this debacle, a leveled Republican Party will rethink itself. We'll go back to that wonderful document that Reince Priebus put out in 2012. Remember that? Right. That was the autopsy report. Remember that? They had to be on. They had to go for immigration reform. They had to shed their nationalist rhetoric. They had to really talk about pocketbook issues. Look at it from the point of view of the middle class. That's the only way we're going to get there. And if they don't, then they're going to lose election after election. And frankly, that would be fine too. Yeah. My hope is that the Democrats don't blow it. My hope is that the Democrats are able to pull together a coalition that's large enough to govern. Yeah. And that we can have some sane governance for a period of time.
I got to.
Okay, so you see what's going on. You see what's happening. Now, there is a lot to, quote unquote, unpack here, as the cool kids would say. But we got to start from the elephant in the room, which is the call to violence. It's clear. I mean, I could say that she's looking at it in a metaphoric way. You got to vote people out, get them out of office, don't allow them to continue being in power. I could look at it like that. I could give her the benefit of the doubt, but why would I do that when the crazy left, which she is obviously a part of, have endorsed violence on people that are on the right times before? Okay, you've had Maxine Waters talking about surround them, crowd them, don't make them comfortable, this, that, and the third. When Antifa's out here doing whatever they're doing, the Democrat left, the far left are giving them excuses and cover. They want to use coded language like counter protesters and all this and that. They'll say that any group on the right that is subversive, or a group that appears to be on the right that's subversive, is on the right, far right, racist, Nazi, white supremacist, KKK, or whatever. They'll say that for the so-called far right groups. But when it comes to Antifa, Black Lives Matter, they don't want to say anything like that at all. They want to attack you on the right, but on the left, they are defending. So like I said, I could look at what she said as, strictly metaphorical, but at the same time, I can't, because the left have endorsed violence against us before. And what she said was pretty violent. You got to get any survivors. Like, are you saying that we have to just spray the whole Republican Party with a hail of bullets? Anybody that lives, you got to kill them too? That's what it sounds like. I mean, it's pretty extreme. Don't put anything past these columnists. They get really emboldened by the things that are allowed to happen in these liberal cities. Okay. Your whole left coast, they can pretty much run amok, do drugs, beat people up, whatever they want to do. And it's not really any kind of penalty for it. So those that are in the ivory tower, those that are in their offices, those that are writing these columns, they feel like they can do whatever they want, say whatever they want as well. And being on this MS-13NBC panel pretty much solidified that for me. You get everybody up there being a cheerleader, like the guy, Jason Johnson, who called us, lost, confused, all this and that, a bunch of really derogatory terms outside of being lost and confused. When we went to the White House last year, 400 black folks in MAGA hats and everything else, deep. Okay. So these are the typical attack dogs that the left sends out against the right. And at a certain point, it's going to cross over from being just talking on television to real world violence. We've seen that many times before. People with MAGA hats getting beat up, shoved into scaffolding, people almost losing their eye. I think somebody got killed or shot like at the beginning of the campaign season just for joking about voting for Trump. So these are real world problems that we face right here. And the individual talking about this is no surprise to me, none whatsoever. But to move on a little bit, she's talking about voter suppression. Voter suppression? What are you talking about, voter suppression? So is requiring an identification to go vote voter suppression? How can that be so? If anything, not requiring an ID to vote is voter suppression. I can take your vote if I want to in a place where there's no voter identification. All I got to do is just find where you live and your name. I could say, yeah, my name is John Quincy Adams. I live in X, Y, and Z, Main Street, San Antonio, Texas, and I'm here to vote. All right. So I cast your vote before you're able to do it. That's called identity theft. What's the easy way to prevent identity theft? How about require identification? It is so simple. You got to have ID for everyday walking life. You got to have ID to go to the club, to get certain items from the grocery store, like your tobacco, your alcohol, sometimes like pseudoephedrine, like cough medicine, things like that. You got to have an ID for, to get a prescription filled, to get welfare, to get unemployment, to get a job. You got to have identification. So how is it racist to say that you have to have identification? All right. Go to Nigeria. People living on $2 a day. Everyone must have identification to vote. Same thing with India. You got to have identification to vote. How is it racist to say that a black person in America, the best country on planet Earth, must have identification to vote? People say, oh, it's cost prohibitive. How is it cost prohibitive when in many states they give it to you for free? All you have to do is go down to the place and get it. Even if it does cost, like I said, you must have identification for your everyday life. It is not racist. These individuals go on television as I close and they say all types of wild things. The purpose of it is to strike fear into the hearts of the everyday person. So you won't go out there and vote for the party they don't want you to vote for. Come stay with us. Don't go over there. You know, they make this false reality for you to believe in. And if you buy into it, you'll be afraid to ever leave. It's funny how they were preaching all this hate on MS-13NBC, but right in the bottom right-hand corner, it had this thing about assailing hate, trying to get rid of hate. That was hilarious. I guess hate only exists in their eyes when it comes from a white person that is on the right, not on the left. When it comes to leftist politics, race goes out the window. They don't care about that at all. It doesn't matter if a white person on the left then killed 35 black people. They won't really talk about that being racist. They won't talk about racial overtones there. They try to just ignore that. The general public will talk about that, obviously, because the general public is not so much in tune to the race as is the media. But the media, they'll totally just bypass that and say, hey, he just had problems, this, that, and the third. They'll talk about the guns rather than talking about the individual that did it, because they have to protect their own, not so much for you on the right. They want to apparently attack you, even if they don't come out and expressly say as much. And that's pretty much all I got. And what say you? Do you think that the lady from Washington Post who was on MS13NBC was being threatening with her words? If that's your viewpoint, let me know why in the comments below. Or was she not being threatening? Was it simply a metaphor and nothing else? Are we going to ignore the past, the recent past? I mean, I'm talking about the past couple of days, weeks, months of the far leftists who echo the sentiments that this lady did. Are we going to ignore that? Do we take it into consideration? Whatever your comments are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.